Okay, we're gonna do a fireside chat now.
We should have
How
had
are you all
fireside
feeling
chat
today?
music.
No, no. You guys are wild. Like that. Who would have thought a bunch of geo geeks in a room give them beer? Woke up this morning, it was just like, oh, there was a laptop at the foot of my bed with a half-finished workspace on it. Looks like I was trying to geocode a PDF. I don't even know. There was an Oracle reader in there, which is crazy because I don't have an Oracle license. I don't know. Bad influences. All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to have a fireside chat with Don and Dale. What is a fireside chat? I'm glad you asked. So this, oh, I don't have a clicker, but
do you want me to get you a clicker?
we can.
I'll get you a
Actually,
clicker.
you know what? It's fine because we can just leave this up. So
Okay.
that link, slido, sli.do/FME UC. That's the one we used for Chris Hadfield
there it is.
yesterday.
They
Yeah, we'll
have.
just get you guys to submit your questions, and we already have a few rolling in here. Just from the last few days, or even the last couple of weeks, and people have been voting on them. So any questions you want to ask Don or Dale, anything at all, about FME, about life, whatever you can think of, we will pose them, and you can vote on your favorites. So we'll try and get through as many as we can. And yeah, I guess that's about it. So let's get started.
Okay.
How are you feeling?
Great.
Great.
Fantastic.
Great. All right, so I'm gonna start off with the top voted one here. This is for you, Don.
Okay.
Will your love for Docker overpass your love for XML? Oh.
Yeah, great. Yeah, how many words do you want that answer in? Would you like one word or, yeah.
Whatever you're feeling.
Yeah, never.
Never.
Yeah. XML, I'm pretty loyal, so my love of XML is here to stay. And when I see, I almost broke down over there at Jan's talk when XML was number 1, number 3, and number 4. I took a picture of that slide, so that was my favorite. I am excited about Docker, though. Mm-hmm. Docker is going to revolutionize the way we deliver FME server, and who knows, it eventually could also be FME. It's certainly already revolutionized the way we build, FME inside SAFE. So in a very short time, that's happened. And that's one thing I really love about our team is, we went away to the Google I/O conference, and we brought that back, started playing with it. Just showed it to the team, and they just run with. When they see things, they just run with them, and often, it's like, oh, I gotta catch up. So yeah.
Nice. All right. Yeah. The next top one. This is for both of you. What is the next big thing for SAFE?
Whoa.
Yeah.
The next big thing. Well, I mean, there's a variety of answers to that. On a physical level, the next big thing is that we're moving offices from our humble abode in the shadow of a hot tub factory. So we're going to come up from behind the hot tub factory with those nice, sometimes there's fish food as well in the air.
Yeah.
So
you can smell it.
You do, yeah.
Yeah.
So, and you do get that nice smell of varnish every once in a while in the morning.
Yeah,
and they've been
so we're going to say goodbye to all that.
Yeah.
And we're moving down the road to be in a brand new 12-story high-rise. We got the top 5 floors there.
Yep.
And very close to the hospital. Not sure what that...
And an old folks home.
And an old folks home. So we basically can go cradle to grave, basically, with SAFE right in the middle. So that's right. On a physical level, that's very exciting. That'll be happening basically a year from right now.
Yeah.
They're just pouring our floors right now. So that's a big thing. On the technology side, what I think all of you have experienced is that technology is an exponential thing. So you keep building on what you've had before. And so we are now about 24 years in, and the pace of change, the things that can be accomplished on top of what we've done before continues to boggle me. And it's, Bill Gates had a quote, and I think I've mentioned to this crowd before, but you overestimate what you can do in 1 year, and you underestimate what you can do in 10. And that's because of this exponential effect. Everything takes a little longer to kind of get going, but once it gets going, then watch out. And so I'm pretty excited. You're going to see tomorrow some of the things that are starting to brew at SAFE that may take 2 or 3 years to finally come to fruition, but they are building upon the amazing building blocks that we've got. And so I'm very, very excited, frankly, to see these things come to pass. Things like our ability to handle massive data sets. Jan showed how he's using point cloud technology to kind of do things that aren't really point clouds. But we are rolling that subsystem into more parts of FME, so we are going to be able to handle greater and greater data volumes with better and better speed. More responsive UI. I should let Don talk about, on the server side, some of the stuff that's brewing there.
Yeah. So server is gonna, we're gonna have fault tolerance built from the ground up. Boy, we could almost just completely destroy our tomorrow talk. And scaling up and down like we showed, with that prototype in my Docker talk. And the web is going to be big, right? The cloud is going to be big. Everything's moving to the cloud and the web. So that's where we're going to be. Yeah.
So there's about 15 things we're excited about.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. But we've only begun. I mean, really, Dale and I, we talk all the time. And every year we're more excited about where we are and where things are going than the previous year. So that's probably a good sign.
All right, I have a serious question for Dale.
Oh.
Is it possible to do a burnout in a Tesla Model S?
The answer is actually yes. You have to turn off the safeties. Elon Musk has told his staff that if any of them do that, they will get fired.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, the switch is there.
Yeah.
I won't say whether or not I've actually flipped the switch. But I am on my second set of tires.
Okay. Any plans on efficiently supporting a version control, Git or SVN, with workspaces?
Okay.
Yeah, well, maybe you might have to come back tomorrow for that one.
So there's a multi-step journey. We're taking, you'll see tomorrow the first steps in that. That I think that issue is among the highest, if not the highest, voted idea now on the Ideas Exchange. And actually, I had a very good talk with someone, let me think, on Monday around the importance of us doing that. And as FME becomes more and more involved, or a bigger player in systems like Jan just showed, these huge enterprise systems, tracking what went on with the workspaces, with the software that is the workspace over time, how that evolves, is becoming a bigger and bigger issue. Don and I remember it was, I think AD SciCAD had built a diff tool for workspaces.
Yes.
Years and years ago.
Yes, it was amazing. I don't know where that is now.
Yeah, but that
yeah.
kind of technology combined with being able to easily check stuff in and out of things like Git, we do see as becoming extremely important.
Yep.
And we are actually taking steps towards it. And we have some ideas. I mean, I'll mention that within Workbench right today, you have a history tree that we actually showed that 3 years ago as an experimental thing, and then it did roll into the product. So as you're working, and you go back and forward in this tree, you can actually see and flip back and forth.
Yep.
But that's within a session.
Yep.
So the vision would be that we would extend that so parts would persist being checked into Git, so you could flip back and forth in history. And then the ultimate dream would be I select 2 parts in that history tree and I can hit a button and somehow the differences highlight for me. That's the vision. May take a while to get there, but at least we have a rough roadmap.
Yep.
So we have a few people here. How many of you are here at your first UC? Yeah,
Wow.
a lot of, wow, welcome.
Thanks
for coming.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So we have a few people wondering if they are here for the first time, what should be on their can't miss list, I guess, for
in the
Vancouver.
area of Vancouver?
Yeah.
I think,
Like tourist or at this show?
I don't know, all of the above.
Well, answer all of it.
Yeah.
yeah.
Lynn Canyon. Talk to Ulf Manson. He's a big fan of the Lynn Canyon suspension bridge.
Yeah. And I remember as a kid jumping off there, because I grew up around Lynn Canyon. So every summer we would go to Lynn Canyon and jump in the water. It's awesome.
That's
We're
where there's
not
a nice.
endorsing
And I
this.
rode my bike across that suspension bridge when I was.
Wow.
Just so you know, there's a plaque there that says that 30,
don't do that.
30 people have died since 1976. So I'm glad that you're not one of them.
Yeah.
Don.
Of course, my mom didn't know till I was like 28 that I was doing all these things. Yeah.
Wow.
And then there's also Grouse Mountain. I mean, going up there on a day like today is fantastic. If you're into hiking, the grind is really, really something. It's called the Grouse Grind, but it's you can really hike up the mountain, and then at the top you have a beautiful view of the city. Yeah.
But in terms of this conference, I would suggest, I mean, you can't go wrong going to any of the talks. I actually was able to go to a whole track of all afternoon yesterday, and I was amazed at the caliber and the amazing things that were being presented in every single one of them. So I don't think you can go wrong going, just even take a random pick. You won't be disappointed. Definitely, kind of from a more selfish point of view, I really hope you go into the doctor's office, talk to them about things you'd like us to improve, things you'd like us to change. Tell them what your workflows are. Part of the big value for SAFE as an organization of this conference is our staff being educated as to the gravity of the work that all of you do. And so don't miss a chance to let them know what you care about, what's important to you. That just feeds into our DNA and makes sure that we keep those things in mind as a whole organization as we evolve the product.
Yep, yep.
Yeah. I was thinking too here, just try everything. Come to the video booth and talk to us for like 30 seconds. What's your favorite format or something?
Yeah.
Come to the hackathon tonight. That's going to be a lot of
That'll
fun.
be fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do everything.
And the futures talk is, for Don and I, is probably the very relaxed and fun, informal chance for us to show the exciting stuff. You know, we have that, at SAFE, we have the Friday demos.
Yep.
I wish all of you could come to the Friday demos when developers and others on the technical side show the latest stuff that they've been working on. And that is just such a great lift me up every week to see the new things pouring into FME. We're going to have our own version, I guess, of Friday demos tomorrow morning.
Yeah.
Along the same lines, can you have the FME UC every second year?
Everything is possible.
Yeah, certainly every year is
Our events team just like left.
is too much. So then I think we had it 3 years ago, and then before that it was, I'm going to say 5.
It was a 5-year gap.
Yeah. So 5's too much. One's too little. No, 1's too much. 5's not enough. So 3's feeling about right, honestly. So, but we'll after all this, we're going to have a big debrief. And so does anybody think we like we do the world tour, and we had a big discussion at SAFE. Well, do we do the world tour at the same time as the UC? And we did. And of course, it put a huge load on the on our staff. Is there anybody out there who thinks when we do the UC, we shouldn't do the world tour?
One or the other. I don't
No,
know.
everybody likes the world tour. They want it all done.
Yeah, they want it all. Yeah, no, and we see so many people in the world tour. So
Yeah, the world tour this year, I think the number is over 5,000 that we visited together with our partners that came and saw us. So that's roughly
An order of magnitude.
Yeah, order of magnitude more than this event. So obviously that's a big thing for us. We are talking again with our friends in Conterra about a German, well, it's not really German, it's FME Days because there's an English track and some German tracks. That'll continue to happen in Europe. But just figuring out the scheduling of all that, we just have to work on. But, you know, in principle, I certainly don't have a problem with every second year, but we'd have to look at everything. But probably every 5 years, as Don says, is not enough.
Do the two of you have a secret handshake?
Well, we actually just got secret decoder rings, so...
They did. I walked in and it looked like they were getting engaged. It was like...
on whatever day that was, Wednesday, there's a friend of ours that's a jeweler, and he surprised us with that. So, so if you want to, we should probably sell these Safe Software rings.
Why do you think shapefile is such an enduring format?
It's simple. Everybody supports it, right? I mean, it's got lots of problems. It's not particularly beautiful like XML, but everybody can read and write it, and it's just, yeah. I mean, there's a lot to be said for simple.
Yeah.
You know, and shape is simple.
Yeah, it's funny. There's a little bit of foreshadowing there. We're going to talk more about shapefiles tomorrow, but I think that when you come down to the base of it, it's actually, a lot of folks don't know, but it's the 25th birth year. Shapefiles have been around for 25 years. They've actually been around longer than SAFE. And so that's, but they got early momentum. They got an installed base, and sometimes the first mover has the advantage. And so then all the challengers come along. The formats like, you know, GeoPackage is a modern challenger, but it's going to take a lot to dethrone the mighty shapefile. Plus, it has a very active Twitter account.
That's right.
Okay, this is the top voted question right now. Might take a bit of thought about life in general. What is the most intimidating or scary decision you've had to make, and what was the reason or motivation behind that decision?
Intimidating decision.
Yeah,
well, okay, there's all kinds. You know, speaking very bluntly, the toughest decisions involve staffing. When you have a large organization, who you hire and who you sometimes have to part ways with, those are astronomically the toughest work-related decisions that there are. So that is, I mean, it's sort of the what comes with the territory of having a growing company. So I would put that very high.
Yeah, yeah. Certainly, certainly as running a company, you know, we value the team very much, and we trust them. They trust us. So trust always goes both ways. And, and so you can't, you know, trust is something earned, not, you know, necessarily given. And so it's really, really hard. We work with our team, and you know, like, we don't track, like, everybody has a computer, for example. There's not an asset number anywhere.
Yeah.
And we have food just all over the place. We never, so, but then when things get tough, for sure it's the staffing things. And Dale and I have often talked, like, we're technology guys, and we didn't really set out to, you know, we've never had a business plan, so there you go. We just sort of started as two guys, and we need another guy, and then we needed another person, and we just kept hiring. People ask us often, you know, how big are you going to be in 5 years? And really, who knows?
Yeah.
You know, And I've been to shows. It's kind of funny. You'll be at a show, and it says our goal is to hire 500 people in 2 years. And then you feel that's easy. Just go out and hire 500 people, and then you met your business goal. But
along those lines, I saw somebody ask how you met and how you knew you were right for each other.
Well, that's actually, I'll just finish one other thing, though, on that previous question. On a lighter heart, well, it's still serious, but not of the magnitude. The other one that Don and I face all the time is when and what are we going to put into each release? And because, you know, I'd like to say that Don and I, on our own, couldn't plan a birthday party. It's hard. We're not natural planners, and we've managed to surround ourselves with some fantastic people that are. But at the end of the day, people come to us and say, you know what? This bit of functionality, here's the risk if we try to get this into the next release. Should we stretch or not? And that's the thing that you know, is a tough. That's more of a tactical kind of decision.
And we're terrible.
Yeah.
Because you know, this one last feature, we can get it in. And so we're trying to train ourselves, but it's hard.
Each year we think we're doing better on this, and each year we still, whoops, we shouldn't have tried to squeeze this in or that. I mean, you know, we were trying to get FME 2017.1, as if we didn't have enough going on with World Tour and then this. We thought we'd also release FME 2017.1.
On Friday.
Yeah, on Friday.
Yeah.
And about, there we realized 3 weeks ago, why are we doing that? We just couldn't devote the resources to testing that we wanted to. So we said, look, let's take the pressure off. Let's get through this, have a good time, and then we'll come back, sober up, and spend the next 3 or 4 weeks just testing. We are feature complete, but we just want to really shake it out. So I know that for my Finnish and Swedish friends, you have Midsummer's kind of party coming. Our goal is that you'd be able to stay up all night and use FME 2017.1 for that. So yes, so that's what we're trying there. So anyway, back to the question though about the origin story. It'll be, I'm sure, one of our, when we do these, our series of superhero movies, there'll be one of them that's the origin story. And so Dawn says, you remember, oh no.
I can remember, I have a weird mind, I guess, but I can remember the day, I can remember the lunch hour I met my wife. And I actually remember exactly what I was thinking at that time when I first met her. And then and similarly when I was interviewed with Dale, like at MDA, you know, my first day. So we met at McDonald Duttweiler. They built ground stations, and I was interviewed, you know, and then I went from person to person to person our first day and was introduced to everybody. And I remember, you know, being introduced to Dale. He turned around, he wore glasses at that point. He had more hair, much younger. But I don't know, we talked for a couple minutes, and I just remember leaving thinking, wow, he was a pretty nice guy. Because not, you know, some people, they just turn around, they shake your hand, and you think, wow, I'm really interrupting that person. You know, it's my first day. But I remember with Dale that I left thinking, oh, he's kind of a nice guy. I might want to have lunch with Dale.
Yeah.
And then when I left, and then we worked together for how many years? 2 years?
2 years or so.
Yeah.
And we actually, I mean, Dawn and I, there used to be a little bit of an exclusive table at McDonald Detweiler for the Star Trek fans. This was in the heyday of the Next Generation, and we would get into deep discussions on intergalactic Federation politics and what's going to happen with the Vulcans versus the whoever else they were.
Yep.
It starts with R. Boy, I'm getting
Romulans.
old. Romulans.
Yep.
Deep, deep discussions
Yep.
on these things. Oftentimes it was table of two.
Yeah.
But anyway, so that Don and I had, and actually I remember going to your place to watch season finales.
Yep.
I also will tell a funny story. I'm a farm boy from Alberta.
Oh yeah, this is hilarious.
And so early on, or at some point in there, Don said to me, hey, why don't you and Darius, my wife, come over and see Alice and I for dinner on Sunday? And so where I'm from, dinner means the noon meal. And so, and I say, okay, well, we might be a little bit late. We might not get there till about 1, I said. And Don said, that's okay.
So, I'm like, if that's late, okay.
So we show up at about 1 on Sunday for dinner, and I quickly realized there's no sign of food anywhere here. And I'm getting hungrier and hungrier, and you know, Don and Alice are kind of wondering what in the world are these people doing here. So we go on a walk, ironically near where the next safe office is going to be. And Darius and I are getting, boy, we're getting famished. And finally, I don't know, it was like 5 o'clock. Actually,
I was making pizza.
You made pizza, and Don threw it into the oven. And I think that was pretty dramatic. There was some interesting.
Yeah, it slid off the back of the rack.
So there was some fun with that. And then, you know, we ate it up. Oh, boy, we were hungry.
Yeah.
And then I think somehow I told you the next day, or I don't know, it came out.
Funny.
And I think your mother also understood
when
this.
I told my mom the story, as soon as I said dinner, she knew I didn't have to go any further.
Yes.
She grew up on a farm. So
Yeah,
that was kind of funny.
So that was when I was, you know, like sometimes actually Don and I have been told by some other business people like that we've just come out and fallen off the turnip truck.
That's right.
And so to some degree, Don and I met right when I was falling off the turnip truck.
Yeah.
Aw.
Yeah.
Okay, will SAFE support raster or LiDAR processing on a GPU?
I would say yes. I mean, I've learned not to say no.
That's not in our we're not going to talk about that in our futures.
No.
But
Now, I mean, I think one possible way that happens, we make heavy use of Google, and those guys, I suspect, will be doing this kind of thing. And in fact, I wouldn't be afraid to fund them in that way, and then we would take advantage of it afterwards.
Yep.
But I've learned, Brett Madsen is here. He knows that he likes to bring it up every year that I had said we'd never do raster.
Never do
so,
raster.
okay, Brad, I'm never going to say never again.
And somebody asked me yesterday if we're going to do video. And I said we'll never say never again.
Right.
Yeah.
So
that's all I said.
Yeah.
I didn't let anything out of the bag.
Good.
Yeah.
Okay. I heard yesterday SAFE is working on a transformer to handle PDF content. How far out is that capability? PDF content.
Right. So I mean, there's another case. We funded some open source work that is sitting in inventory, so to speak, and hasn't been integrated into FME yet. And if any of you, so that this would be PDF reading that was being asked about, or
just PDF content.
PDF content.
I guess
so on the PDF reading side, there was a great talk given yesterday. Tim is in here somewhere. If you're interested in that, check it out. The videos will be online soon.
And it's also in the hub.
It's in the hub, yeah. So that's on the reading side, and we should be able to read out rasters, vectors, as well as text content out of PDF. So it will no longer be true that PDF is where data goes to die, because we'll be able to resurrect it from there. So that's that goal. On the writing side, there's a special group at SAFE putting together specs on how we can do better. Actually, I was in a talk yesterday. I forget who it was now. My mind's a sieve. But they said they looked it all over and found that FME was the best tool for producing. I can't remember. Producing layered PDFs. Okay. So anyway, we do a good job of vector PDFs, and I think there's some people from Spain here who have done absolutely astronomical things. Did you see it also in the Ordnance Survey?
Yeah. I was in the Ordnance Survey, and there's a guy there who made a presentation and showed the amazing maps he's done with the Ordnance Survey with PDF.
Yeah.
And the guy was amazing. Like, he came in, just to do his talk, and he just blew everybody away, answered questions and left. And I talked with our partner there, and they said it was really hard to get, because speaking isn't what he really enjoys to do, but he was just amazing. So all the ordnance survey maps are done in PDF with FME, and it's just crazy.
Yeah, and then Jan showed how he's using a set of custom transformers to make Microsoft Word reports effectively.
Yeah.
And we were inspired by Jan's work and gave a lot of thought as to how to model the creation of these kind of flowing reports where there's sections and headings and so on. And tomorrow, you're a little bit of foreshadowing, you'll see a thing that we've started down the path with that for a few formats. I know on World Tour, Ken Bragg came back and said that in different European places, he saw 2 different Python libraries being used to make PDF reports like that. And so I would suggest that we would end up rolling that kind of stuff in. So it'll be kind of a model for producing reports in FME, whether they're, I won't say what formats, you'll have to come tomorrow.
Yep.
If XML and shapefile had a fight, who would win?
Oh, shapefile's got the bulk behind it. It's the heavyweight.
Yeah, I guess it has more data behind it, but XML is so much more flexible. I think it would be, it would sort of be like if anybody Fantastic Four fans, I think it would be like the Thing versus Stretch Man.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Stretch Man is...
he would the guy who could just like turn into Rubber Band Man.
Yeah.
You know? So he'd tie him up.
I feel like the subtext of that question is if Don and Dale had a fight, who would win?
Oh wow. Well, we have some fantastic splash screens that never made it of us
right.
in sumo suits.
Yes.
And so there was one. There was 2 of them, one where I won and one where Dale won.
That's right. So we toyed with, like we used to do that. I don't think we did that recently, but we used to have randomly a different splash screen would show up once in a while. And so the idea could have been that 50% of the time, I'm the guy that's in the winning sumo suit and 50% Don. But thankfully, we thought better of it.
That's right. That's right. If we ever have a big disagreement, we use foosball. So,
Good call.
We haven't played foosball in a long time,
We
which
haven't
means there
played
hasn't
foosball in a long
been a
time.
big disagreement in a long time.
Yeah.
Do you want SAFE to keep growing, or is there a size that you see as a limit? Can you interact with all staff if you keep growing?
Yeah, I mean, growth is really, really hard. And I've read some books. There's a book that talks about the monkey sphere. And so if you Google that, you'll find these books. And there's this number, it's around, I'm going to say 120. And beyond that, you can't interact with everybody. And there's actually, the book talks about, too bad I didn't see this question coming, but he actually talks about this guy who has a company, and whenever a company hits this size, he actually breaks into 2 companies. So there's all these interrelated companies where each one is the size of a monkey sphere.
Yeah.
So what we do at SAFE to, so I guess, well, we're going to continue to grow because we have so many things to do that if we didn't, we would have to really start to, be more selective, and the rate of growth would slow down because maintenance becomes tough. So we will continue to grow. But what we do at SAFE is we really believe in the 2 pizza rule that Amazon talks about, Jeff Bezos. And so we keep our team smaller, and then that just means that because the idea is if you can't feed a team with 2 pizzas, then the team's too big. And so what that means is when a team gets a certain size, you have to figure out how to break it up, and then you have to insert other layers. But yeah.
It's going to be an interesting thing. Physically, right now, our office is kind of a long, snaky thing that winds from one end of a big building to another, but all on one floor. And we have a hallway that separates some group from the other. And that hallway has been like an amazing wall of China almost, even just that hallway. And now we're going to move to being across 4 floors. And so culturally, in some respects, it's going to be like we have 4 companies, each with about 40 people in them. And so we're going to have to think very carefully about how we arrange that. Steve Jobs, when he took over or was involved in building a Pixar office, said that he was only going to make 1 set of bathrooms for the whole office. So everybody in all of Pixar had to go to one place to use the bathroom because he wanted to cause interaction between people that don't otherwise bump into each other. He ended up getting voted. It's a rare case where he actually retreated on that idea. But one of the things we're debating is there only going to be microwave ovens on 1 floor? Like if you want to warm up food, you've at least got to go up to do that. And we may end up being like Steve Jobs and retreating from that because I found out people like to drink tea. And so going to the top floor just to warm up tea may be inefficient. But this is going to be an issue for us, is how do we keep a cohesive group when we cross like we are past the 120 mark, and it's now the case that I bump into people at work that I don't really know. The co-op students, we have around 15 to 20.
Yep.
We used to get to know them really well. Now it's less likely that there'd certainly be some that Don and I don't really get to know at all, and that's a little bit sad because that enriched our lives, and so we just have to find ways. You know, I went to a talk by an entrepreneur that said that they make a point of having lunch with every person in their company throughout the year, and that would be one thing. But boy, Don and I would be eating a lot of lunch.
Yeah, that's right. And I think the thing you touched on that I worry a lot about is culture, because the culture at SAFE, we've grown up, and you know, we say we only hire nice people, and I'm serious. I went to a university and I said, so we only hire nice people. If you're not nice, don't apply to SAFE, but I can give you a list of companies you can go work for, which they thought that was. But as we grow, it's like, how do we maintain our culture of, you know, working hard, but still, you know, the fun factor is huge at SAFE. And so we really look to the folks who've been around SAFE for a while to really embody that and make sure that we really guard that, because I think that what we have at SAFE and also with our user community is pretty special. I'm an introvert, so you know, so I mentioned earlier that I'd probably sleep for a couple days. But having said that, I really enjoy just talking with all the folks. So culture is the thing that I think we don't want to lose, because if we lose the culture, then I think we've lost a lot.
And, you know, Don just reminded me, I had the good fortune yesterday, my sons were the ones doing the pictures with Commander Hadfield, so I wanted to kind of hang around and see how that wound up. And at the very end, he took a picture with each of them, and then Commander Hadfield saw me standing there, and he came up to me and he said, as he was being whisked away by his handler, he said to me, I can tell from the interactions today that you and Don have built a wonderful company with wonderful people, but not only that, it is also embodied in all of the customers that are here too. So he noticed there's something special about this group, and I wasn't thinking of relaying it, but there I get to relay it to all of you, that you left an impression on him in your interactions. I know the dozens and hundreds of you that took pictures, he actually interacted with all you, talked to you, and you left him with the impression that this is a special group, and it really, really is, and that to me was almost the highlight of the day, actually.
Yeah.
We all know about how Safe Software got its name. Curious to know how FME was coined.
Oh yeah. That was like we were working. I thought it was like 2 a.m.
Yeah. So our early contract was with the BC government, and so we had built this stuff, and we had to write a manual.
That's right. That's right. And you called me up.
Needed a title.
And you
for
said,
the manual.
what do you think about translation control language? And I said, TCL. Oh, it's already taken.
Rats.
And at that point, we were also working with something called Spatial Data Base Engine, SDBE, before Esri bought it and turned it into SDE. So that was one of our lucky breaks, is Esri bought this thing. We were the only people who could talk to it. And then, so we thought engine was really cool. So throw it back and forth, 5-minute talk, feature manipulation engine, FME, sounds good.
Title on the document, time for bed.
That's right.
So
that's right.
So that was the amount of thought given to it. And then we spared no expense and used a website called Pixel something.
Yeah, where it was like a
Grinder.
caveman logo.
The caveman logo. I typed in FME and world, and that was how the first logo was created.
And our first brochure we found on Microsoft, they had this trifold thing. It actually had a map on it, like a picture of the globe. When I found it, I called Dale up. It's perfect. It's our brochure. So he just had to put in the text. And I remember walking up to Jack with our brochure. He was going down the hall and opened it up and started. And Jack was always friendly and polite. And then, of course, there's the story where we set up a trade show booth right in ESRI. In the hallway. So as all the employees walk by in the middle of development, they'd see these crazy Canadians who have a trade show booth with and they'd walk by on the way to the washroom, and we'd say, "Hey, we're from SAFE. Here's our brochure." And I'm sure they wondered what the heck we were doing.
I don't actually understand how that happened, and it is the case. I'm convinced that entrepreneurs that start out have to be delusional.
Oh yeah, we were totally delusional.
You got to be like completely, almost mentally ill to believe that what you have is so wonderful that clearly everybody must have this. And we made an early connection with an oil and gas rep at Esri.
Angus.
Angus Wood. Right? And he said, "Why don't you guys come down to the office?" Yeah. So we we flew down, and I don't know if this guy had any right to do this, and we flew down with basically a trade show, like
we
saw
it was
like
great.
trade show technology like we had at that time.
Yeah, like you saw it in the opening
And we
slide.
literally just set up in the hall of the Esri office, and people walked by, and we tried to talk them in, tell them how great FME was. Like, what was this?
Yeah.
And so.
And at that point, our demos was we would ask them, "What's your favorite editor?" Because there's no Workbench. VI or Emacs, those were the choice. And if they said VI, Dale would do it. If they said Emacs, I would do it. And then, 20 minutes later, they would have their output, and we would show you to watch the dots go by on the screen. You'd look at the log file. We'd open the file and say there, and they were relieved it was over, so they would shake our hand and leave. And we thought, oh, wow, that's going to be another sale.
So that was probably 1995.
Yeah.
And what year did the data interop come to life? Would have been 2004-ish?
Yeah, 2004.
So it kind of shows
10 years,
you have to play the long game. It was 9 years later that, then we also have to tell, while we're talking crazy stories, about our trip down to Microsoft.
Oh, yeah. So this guy who used to work at MapInfo, he moved to Microsoft, and he says, hey, why don't you come down? And we, okay, we'll come down on Tuesday. And okay, fine, Tuesday. But I don't think he thought we were coming.
He did not.
And so we couldn't get in the door. So we.
It's pre-cell phone. There's no cell phones. I don't know. Was this the late 90s? Probably.
Probably.
Yeah.
And so then we watched people going in and out of a door. So we did the old trick, where you stand down by the door, somebody opens it, you go grab the door, go, well, this is Microsoft. And so then we just show up at his office. He's like, well, how did you guys get in here?
Well, somebody let us in, we said. And he was totally shocked.
Because we were through the secure area.
And somehow it was right around lunchtime. He said, okay, well, why don't you go have lunch? Got rid of us for lunch.
Yeah.
And then I think he basically scared up a few people to be in a room who and we presented some exciting thing to them. And that was the end of our Microsoft.
That was the end of our Microsoft thing.
But 8 years later, we got contacted by the SQL Server team.
Yep.
And
Ed Kadaba, right?
Ed Kadaba, and did a bunch. So again, we have to play the long game.
That's right.
I thought we would do a few rapid fire questions. Are you up for that?
Oh, yeah.
All right. Ready? Yeah, I don't know who's
So
going
that
to
means
answer
your
first.
answer's-
Just
So
yell
this
them.
is where we talk 20% less.
Sure.
That's what my wife tells me to do. Okay.
Favorite FME splash screen?
Favorite FME splash screen? Oh, I think it's got to be the one where the lizard was introduced in the middle of the desert, underneath a flower, drinking a margarita.
Yes, and that was your midnight idea, right?
Might have been.
I think it came to
out
in
of
a
nowhere.
dream, I thought.
Yeah, we might have
Yeah.
had to remove the margarita because that would promote bad behavior. But
I would go for the speedometer screen.
Oh, yeah.
And I think we could bring that back.
yeah.
Favorite topping on a hot dog?
I'm very traditional ketchup.
Relish.
Favorite transformer?
Oh, it has to be XML. XML templater.
Bufferer, because I just want it to finally work properly. It was a 10 or 15-year quest.
Favorite piece of technology?
Favorite piece of technology?
Besides FME.
That's a tough one. I like so much technology.
Yeah, we're technology guys, but I don't know. I mean,
I love my electric car.
Yeah, I'd probably say, yeah.
And it's got to be the only thing I've ever bought where I just, I'll go, at the end of the day, I'll go into the house and say to my wife, I love my electric car. And my daughter's now learning to drive, and she's only driven an electric car. Well, that's not true. She drove one of those old ice things, where it has fuel that comes, you got to have an electric pump, and it pumps it in, and then it's got to have a spark, and then it spews out this horrible stuff. And she says, Dad, the first time I drove it, I hit the pedal and nothing happened, so I just kept pressing, and then all of a sudden it just took off. So, yeah.
Yeah, if we open it up wide, I'd probably say my electric car. If we go a bit narrower, I would probably say my iPhone. I'm old enough to remember the Dynabook, the idea from Alan Kay in 1969, and I remember thinking that'd be the most amazing thing. I also remember thinking university, wouldn't it be wonderful to have all the Star Trek episodes available at your fingertips? And Netflix does that, so I'm living my dreams.
Oh, I just remembered one thing that I'm really, my little bits.
Of course, yeah.
Okay, let's move along.
I'm going to veer off for a sec because you mentioned the cars. This is the top voted question right now. If Don's electric car is faster, why does he always let Dale win the races? Ooh.
Ooh, my electric car's not faster.
Have you raced? Have you tried it?
No, we don't
No,
race.
Dale's would be faster. Mine,
But that said, one time I had a loaner of a Tesla ludicrous mode car,
that
and
was
Don and I went down for a little drive at lunchtime, and he got behind the wheel, and we went down right near the U.S. border. There was not too much traffic on the
nice
highway.
sunny day.
And Don just floored it one way. We went up a mile. Before I knew it, he was going 160 kilometers an hour. Whoop, and then we went around the exit, and then he floored it the other way. And then we went back to work, and I felt a little bit motion sick for probably 2 hours. So.
Okay, favorite city to visit?
Favorite city to
Visit.
Prague.
visit?
Prague.
You know, I gotta go with Berlin. We spent
Yeah, Berlin was fantastic.
we had a week there for an FME conference, and then I was with my family for another week. And being a Cold War guy, growing up in the Cold War with German roots, it was just incredible to be there.
Yeah.
What were you doing in your 20s?
I was in university, working hard. Yeah.
What was I? That's a long time ago.
Yeah, I'm glad you didn't ask my 30s. I have no recollection of what I did in my 30s.
20s was finishing university, the 7 years at MDA, which was great training for SAFE.
And I think we founded a company in our 20s.
Yes, we did.
Yeah.
We were both still in our 20s.
We were both in our 20s.
Yeah.
If safe software didn't happen, what would your job be?
Well, we would have been in software engineering for sure. Yeah, I tried one other one. It's kind of funny. I thought it was a great idea, and then after 4 months, I realized this is a really bad idea. So
That'll happen.
Yeah, would have been. I probably would honestly still be at MDA. I did like that company a lot, and it was doing mapping-y stuff, and it was fantastic.
yeah, who knows? I might still be teaching at BCIT.
Yeah.
I had a lot of fun there. Students are great.
What would be your weapon of choice in a zombie apocalypse?
Weapon of choice. A
Well,
machete.
I think a
I
tunneling.
love zombie movies.
I think Elon Musk's new tunneling machine, so I could tunnel down and build a big wall.
Okay, one more. I will ask the top voted question right now. What do you think is going to happen in the next Star Wars?
Who's left to kill off? Well, I think Princess Leia is going to die. I'm going to go with that.
I think Luke Skywalker's going to die.
Everyone's just going to die.
Get rid of all the old guys, basically.
Yeah.
All right, we got about 4 minutes left, so let's run through the housekeeping
It's
slides.
it's the 40th anniversary today of Star Wars.
I saw that on Twitter.
So
There you go.
40 years ago today, the first Star Wars movie was out.
And who'd have thought that the night before,
I know,
39 years and 364 days later, you'd have a picture with Darth Vader.
I know, and it was nice of him and the Stormtrooper to come.
Okay. Thank you all for asking your questions.
Yes, thank you.
Some of them were pretty funny as they were coming in. I was trying not to laugh.